So here we are. We've actually got another high-end cooler. When we looked at the Eco a minute ago, the feature set is actually a little bit less in terms of the different ways that you can manage the cooling. We wanted to actually also create a product that had more. So when you look at the Domino, that was a pretty tall order. So we actually have integrated a fully graphical LCD that's right down on the CPU module. If you see down here, it actually can display different information about pumps, fans, temperature. It has alarms built into it as well. When you want to, though, you can actually, even in addition to regulating the CPU fan on the Vantage, you can also add additional fans. So if I want to quiet not just the CPU cooler, I want to quiet the PC. You can then say, okay, I want my PCI fan coming in here and my other intake fan can come in there, and the whole thing can actually be regulating up and down. Now, what isn't always not obvious when you first look at this is that there's actually no wire going from the Vantage over to the fan control. It has a built-in wireless module inside here that is actually communicating actively with the fan node. So the beautiful thing about that is then when you want to take that next step, and actually if there's optional software control, in order to activate that control, it's just a simple USB key that you plug in that has its wireless communication. Then you're taking control over the entire system. So the scalability in the software then allows you to create your own fan curves, change the color of the LCD backlight. You can make it red, blue, pink, whatever you want. And then even beyond that, you can actually upload your own image on here. You can put your own logo, or maybe it's your team name, or however you want to bling it up. The fun stuff starts to I guess become possible. You can even expand it to have RGB accessory lighting. So the product, then you can plug in different RGB lights. You can have it pulse and go blue or red, and in fact actually the settings in the software, they will change the color of the LEDs according to the temperature, so that the LEDs are even in fact a functional element to the system, not just for show and tell.
That's great.
The other subtle differences between the Vantage and the Eco, even though the liquid loop is exactly the same, the fan orientation is actually pushing through the radiator and taking the air and pushing it out of the case, whereas on the Eco, the fan was actually pulling through the radiator. Now, when you do that, you're actually getting just a tiny bit more air for every turn of the fan, and the Vantage then has a slightly increased performance. Now, on top of that, what we did is included a little bit more capable fan, because we're controlling it here and allowing you to choose whether it's quiet, performance, or extreme. Then we can actually put a fan that goes up to 2700, so that if you're really wanting to do some aggressive overclocking and find out what those limits are, then you will have to put up with a little bit of noise while you do that. But at least the flexibility is there for you to do. What we're showcasing here is kind of how much flexibility you've got with that software. We wanted to promote the ability to do zone-based temperature control, right? So you actually can then say my sensor, my CPU temperature, you can place that here. You can have your fan 1, 2, 3, 4, all located wherever it is in your chassis. We're going to give you the flexibility to actually even upload a picture of your own case and then have those different control elements put in here. So the intuitive wizard will allow you to have all that flexibility with none of the hassle. Now let's go have a look at the VGA. What we're featuring over here is actually the Omni A.L.C. The Omni is the very first full card coverage universal VGA cooling solution. Okay, so now that's a lot of information and not very much words. So what we've done is we've got a 240 millimeter rad. We've got a pump housing with the same wireless control capability. Even with we've got kind of pulsing blue RGB lights. The tubes you follow down here, you can actually see them disappearing underneath this pair of 5970s. And perhaps what we'll do is we'll showcase what the block looks like right around the corner. But the nice thing is, if you buy your first liquid cooling system, it's going to actually stay with your case, and then as you upgrade your next generation of card, all you're going to have to do is buy a new interposer plate, keeping your costs and investment to a minimum. If you're going to go to the trouble of setting up liquid cooling for your VGA setup, then it's going to continue to be liquid cooled as you progress and upgrade your overall system. So what you're looking at here is actually the 120 millimeter rad version of this that you can see comes down. This is the universal plate. Okay, this is an extremely low profile plate. It allows you to have liquid cooling over the entire surface of what this touches. Now the challenge has always been VGAs change a lot, right? So by the time we would develop a custom solution for each individual card, then the card would have a limited life left, and the potential for people to take the time to take it apart, integrate liquid, it necessarily wasn't worth the investment in time or money. So what we wanted to do is say, okay, here's the universal liquid plate that's developed once, and it just stays the same. If you've got an interposer plate, this is the part that's custom for each card. You know, we've got very high thermal density coming off the GPUs themselves. This is compatible with single GPU, dual GPU, NVIDIA, ATI, or AMD, or anyone else who may come out with a card. So you can see actually here we've got, this is the solution for the 5970. We also have the 295 GTX. We also have the 5870. And when the next generation from NVIDIA comes out, we have that one finished and is ready to go.